Triple H has addressed a rumored WWE sale in a talent meeting before SmackDown. Vince McMahon is possibly getting more involved with WWE, and we have the backstage issues between Steph and Vince. Stay tuned for the news. Now, prior to SmackDown last night, it was reported that Triple H was hosting a meeting with all the talent.
Yeah.
Kind of trying to calm everyone down a little bit and trying to address things.
Yeah, it feels like the ground's starting to maybe catch fire in a couple of places, and it's just like, no, just stop catching, just
while more fires are building. Like, it's like he's the scene in Community where Troy walks in holding the pizzas and everything's on fire. Well, Fightful Select reported prior to SmackDown, Triple H hosted this meeting to thank all the WWE talent for all that they do and to address the recent changes in WWE, of course referring to Stephanie McMahon's resignation last week.
It's got to be a period of flux, isn't it? Because, you know, as much as the company will tell you everything's going to be fine, and the outside world is going, and just not stopping, there's going to kind of be a point where wrestlers are going to be like, so is it really going to be okay?
I mean, as you say that, last week there was another talent meeting where Stephanie McMahon said that it's business as usual, nothing is changing, and then a couple days later we got a resignation. But PW Insider has reported that in this meeting last night, Triple H had reportedly told them that Vince McMahon's involvement with the company since returning is to spearhead the search to see if they sell the company and to who they may sell the company to. Triple H reiterated that none of this will affect the creative team or its process. It was also conveyed to talent to not believe rumours that have been online this past week.
I mean, because it's, you know, we're an aggregator, so we report, you know, the news as it comes out, and we kind of just collect it and put it together. But it's been quite the ride, just sort of, especially the will they, won't they, is this happening, Saudi deal, what the hell, is this real, what's going on? And that was like, God, the maddest 10, 11 hours in wrestling I think I've seen in a long time.
I remember, what was it, Tuesday night? It was Stephanie McMahon's resigned, me and Adam jumping on the news at midnight, and then wake up to Saudi Arabia's bought WWE, which is, of course, is not quite what's happened. But Fightful Select added to the reports here, later adding that Triple H said that he and Vince McMahon may have discussions about creative, but it will be Triple H making the final call on all creative fronts. Now, Kevin Dunn also spoke at this meeting and said he's worked with McMahon for 40 years, and since his return, he hasn't said a peep to him about making any changes.
Which is interesting. You know, you'd think that if anybody was going to be, you know, having changes conveyed to them, it would be Kevin Dunn.
You say that, and I was thinking about this, and the visual style of WWE has not changed since Triple H took over. It is still the quick camera cuts.
I feel like there's much less of the crash. Like, I think it's still very cutty, but there's much less of the kind of really over-the-top motion.
But it is interesting, as you said, that someone so close to McMahon is backing up Triple H and reiterating Triple H's points. It did note that he is reiterating all those points.
Or it could all just be absolute just crap. Because Fightful Select were reporting as well that they'd heard rumours that Vince McMahon has already sent word to some departments to say that they're doing things wrong since his return, which kind of goes against that first...
It goes completely against the first whole point that Triple H going, look, everything's fine, Vince is not getting involved, he's just got a little thing.
Although I guess it depends which department it is. You know, a department could be, you know, it could be touring management, it could be, you know, pyro, it could be like presentation, it could be talent, it could be
it could be anything that he's working with, trying to facilitate a potential sale.
Or he could just be getting the script again and going,
exactly. Well, hopefully not. But the key word, I think, in that small report from Fightful is that they've said they've heard rumours. Now, they've not reported that this is definitely happening.
They've not reported just fact. It's heard. Sort of hearsay. Like a lot of the things going on right now.
It is worrying. we hear Triple H is going, nothing's changing, it's all good. To Vince McMahon's, you know, dipping his toes back in a little bit.
He just wants all the surnames gone, guys. That's it. That's all he wants.
That's the only thing they're doing wrong. And tonight at 7:45 p.m, we have a video going out on the channel that is who will buy WWE. We look at all the potential buyers. So 7:45, don't miss it.
No, there's some juicy breakdowns, guys.
But furthermore, we've got a report from the Wrestling Observer newsletter that gives more details into the backstage issues between Steph and Vince. Now, this has been, as we've mentioned, a wild week. Now, Stephanie resigned from her role earlier in the week, but Dave Meltzer suggesting that Stephanie and Vince McMahon had issues working together before Vince's retirement last year in 2022, with Nick Khan acting as somewhat of a sort of a go-between, an intermediary between the two parties. He tried to keep relations smooth between the two sides on a professional level, with Meltzer also suggesting that Khan was also a buffer between Vince and Triple H.
Yeah.
So it looks like there's a lot of, it feels like Succession in real life.
Yeah, it's sort of getting that way.
Yeah.
I think, you know, if this is the case, then it's certainly interesting. But I imagine, you know, it's got to be incredibly hard, no matter what business it is, to work with family, and especially when there's been such controversy circling, you know, the patriarch of the family. And I don't, you know, it's one of those things where it's very speculative, isn't it? Like, you know, there's nothing you can do to prove that. But it's sort of, it is interesting because Nick Khan, I remember the Nick Khan signing was a bit like, okay, that was the first sort of tease of a sale in people's minds, but you know, this could have been maybe the reason why as well.
I mean, absolutely. It's just, it is that sort of thing. It must be tough to work with family, and especially when you've been tipped to replace your family member.
Yes.
Like Vince, again, speculative, just chatting away about it, but that's like seeing the person replacing you and knowing that one day they will, and if he doesn't ever want to leave it, that must be quite a horrible thought. But there's more on that from the Wrestling Observer. What's the report, Sam?
So they're reporting that Vince McMahon replaced Stephanie as chairman of the board on the 9th of January.
So that's the day before it was reported.
Yeah, so she was removed from her position, which was then followed up by a unanimous vote, surprise, surprise, to install Vince McMahon in the role. Her resignation letter was accepted by the company the next day. Stephanie McMahon leaving despite saying days before that it was business as usual, had raised flags backstage in WWE. Her resignation was presented backstage as being related to her decision to leave WWE last year, which, you know, that was sort of, that was always going to be on the horizon, I guess, because it was like Stephanie's leaving for a bit, and it was like, okay, this is really weird, but I guess she's off doing something different. Stephanie's coming back, and it was like, all right, so it's probably only a matter of time until because she's got plans. She's just had I believe, a surgery on her leg.
She had an ankle surgery, and she's posted that she's in recovery and rehab for that just now.
And she's going to get into training, and then she's back for Mania.
Back for Mania, of course. Beat Pat McAfee in a match. But no, it's interesting. You know, Stephanie's absence last year, she said that after Triple H's heart issues, she wanted to take time off and spend time with her family, and sort of it made her reevaluate life and sort of that sort of mindset. So it's not a surprise that Stephanie may want to go back to that. She was thrust into this position quite quickly, and she's a CEO of the company.
You've got to imagine, you know, you wouldn't make a decision to leave a role like that lightly. You probably have plans already in place that you've had to stall. But you can only stall certain things for so long, right?
But it's more, the worrying thing is that she says last week, it's business as usual. Don't worry, everything's fine. I'm not going anywhere.
The thing is, like,
and then a few days later,
for it to be business as usual, I feel like, yes, you know, they're going to bring Vince back no matter what anybody wants, because that's just what's happening. And Vince is back, and that's that. But it will have to largely stay as Vince is just a symbolic figurehead now.
Yeah.
If it becomes anything more than that, then that's when we're going to start to kind of see people having trouble.
Yes. Well, we will keep you updated on all the Vince McMahon related news. We're going to just jump over to some backstage news on a debut that happened this past week. Now, Chris Jericho made a debut in PWG, which is pretty cool.
It was awesome, wasn't it?
Yeah. No, it's not something I think I ever expected to see, but we've got an update from the Wrestling Observer, which says that Jericho's had this idea of working for PWG for quite some time. It's not a new idea, and it's been in the pipeline for quite a while, suggesting that Jericho and Excalibur, who is the co-owner of PWG and also, of course, the AEW commentator, so there's
kind of a lot of connections there.
They've got to chat. Supposedly, it's been in the works for 6 months, with Tony Khan reported loving the idea and gave it his blessing. Now, it was a 10-man tag team match, I believe, where he had the Jericho Appreciation Society versus numerous people that were in the Battle of Los Angeles. It was great.
Yeah, it just made me think, like, God, what would like a 25-year-old, 26-year-old Chris Jericho be like in PWG right now. And it, you know, it because that's making it sound like I'm kind of like, oh, because he's old now. Like, no, Chris Jericho's still great, but it's like, could you imagine what somebody with like the hunger of young Chris Jericho could do with like the PWG scene right now?
It would be incredible. That whole show, the whole weekend seemed like a really, really good card, and this sort of was a massive surprise. It seems
it's
really
always
cool.
a hell of an event.
Really cool. But finally, we're going to end on things so that the WWE is presenting, Mountain Dew presents the Pitch Black match at Royal Rumble. Okay, Sam? And speaking on the WWE's After the Bell,
I don't see how they're going to do this.
Right.
And I don't see, it wasn't meant to be a pun there, but yeah.
Well, yeah, exactly. I've got some production questions for you and your thoughts on this one. But LA Knight, speaking on After the Bell, believes that his match at the Royal Rumble against Bray Wyatt, which is being advertised as the Pitch Black match presented by Mountain Dew, will actually be a street fight, but in the dark. Like lights out. He said, I don't know what the hell this is. Every indication I've been given is that this is going to be a kick-ass street fight and be kind of in the dark. Now, Sam, you know production stuff. You've helped produce wrestling.
Yes.
How does this work?
So there's immediately my brain was like, it went to the funny option of what if they just turn all the lights off and all you hear is just oof, and like clattering. But I think it's going to be one of those things where the name is going to kind of be a lot more lenient compared to the actual result. I think it might be something where we have very dim lights, maybe UV.
Yep.
And yeah, it depends because it's like, is it going to be something in the ring? If it's something in the ring, you can maybe do a lot more with lighting. If it's something backstage, you can do it in like kind of a shadowy room.
Yeah.
You can do like the boiler room style thing where you may got one or two lights in the corners and you can barely see. Or they could do it with night vision cameras and shoot it all like pre-tape. It depends, but either way, it's interesting.
As long as they don't make the lights red. You know, but it seems to be that's the thing. It's Bray Wyatt.
They just make them green, and it's like we're watching this all in night vision live.
Yeah, everyone in the audience is like, "No, we're not."
I can't believe we can see it, and they can't.
It's like Hulk Hogan
just like
looking at the
perfect hitting moves.
But it's very strange. WWE seems to be liking doing some weird lighting with Bray Wyatt. That seems to be the thing for the past few years.
Just any new gimmick, anything like that, anything where you know there's a chance it could be a spark of something good. Go for it, try it. Because if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, and it might become something that people maybe point at and kind of go, oh, that didn't really work, and maybe poke fun. But if it does work, you've got like a whole new thing you can explore. Match. Yeah.
Well, keep an eye on that.
I've loved the return of things like the fight pit and
the fight pit. Yeah. Well, keep an eye on that match. It's in about 2 weeks' time for the Royal Rumble, which is exciting. So stay tuned for that. Stay tuned to Cultaholic on YouTube. We'll be back this afternoon for some more news.
Yeah.
But we will see you later.